Now, as with most fancasts that I do on the channel, nobody is saying we should do this, alright? Nobody wants this to actually be done, but we're just saying, Pirates of the Caribbean is such a legendary franchise, they're going to do something else with it. Modern day Hollywood, they're not going to stop at 5, even though the last 3 have all been piss. Because that's just the way they are. So if you were to do a sequel where you wanted Jack Sparrow again, and didn't want to bring Johnny Depp back because Hollywood are assholes, or you wanted to recast the entire thing, start from the beginning again, and go from Curse of the Black Pearl, which is nearly 20 years old, by the way. Who could actually pull off Jack Sparrow? And it's very difficult, but you need an actor who can reproduce the genius of that in their own way, with their own flair, and you need a director who can help them bring that to life and direct this with the free-flowing format that would allow the actor playing Jack Sparrow to really nail it, really have the ability and the option to be that insane, basically. So I think the only way to do that is to put them together into one and get Taika Waititi to do both Jack Sparrow and to direct the film. Yeah, because he's a genius. He knows how to direct himself. He's done it in Jojo Rabbit. It was madcap. It got nominated for Oscars, so you know he does it well. And that film, he played Hitler. He played Hitler in that film and directed himself doing it. But a funny Hitler. That's what it was. And as unbelievable as that still is 3 years after it came out, it's genius and it was hilarious. And it worked really, really well. And you look at other things he's directed, like Thor Ragnarok, where he also directed himself to a lesser degree. And you realize, yeah, he's a brilliant director, he's great at directing himself, he's hilarious as an actor, and I think he's around the right age I'd want Jack Sparrow. He's got the general, kind of seems like a drunken child all the time demeanor that I would want for Jack Sparrow. It's not the first time I've recast a Johnny Depp role with Taika Waititi, but this is Johnny Depp's biggest, best role, so it is difficult to be sure of anybody that could do this, but Taika Waititi's as close as I could possibly think. Will Turner is very much the antithesis to Jack Sparrow. He is young, but seems like an old, wise mind. Whereas Jack Sparrow is older, but seems like a drunken child is the only way to put it, really. And Orlando Bloom was great. He was this very serious, but kind of like almost swashbucklingly quippy. Not like modern superhero quippy. Swashbuckling quippy is very different. He was more like that. And again, difficult to know for sure who could do that today. If I had to cast it, and I do, I'd cast Dylan O'Brien. Because, once again, you just need... And I do think if they did it today, there would be more of that level of superhero quippiness to it. Why? Because swashbuckling quippy is a dying art. Yeah. But if you were doing it today, you were giving it more that style, but you wanted to cast somebody who hasn't done a load of superhero films already, and is still a young, attractive Hollywood man, I'd go for Dylan O'Brien. Yeah. I know that originally a lot of the cast of this was British, and Dylan O'Brien is not, and that's unlike me to cast a non-British person in kind of a more Britishy role, but I'm okay with it because I think Dylan O'Brien, A, can do a British accent, B, has this great mix of having done big leading man roles, hasn't done any kind of superhero film, so he won't have picked up I'm not going to call them bad habits about the superhero quippiness, but the different habits to what you would want for this, maybe. And he's just got that kind of... He's got the baby face to a degree, looks adorable, and I feel like you want that. I feel like that's a bit of a mix of what Orlando Bloom had and what you would want in a more modern, changed version of the character. For 2003, Elizabeth Swann was a strong female character. Yeah. And for a 17-year-old, Keira Knightley really nailed that role and made it her own. Oh, we gotta recast it. And again, there's a little bit of a basic casting here. It's one that I might have done for Keira Knightley roles before, I'm not entirely sure, but it's one that I can't move past. It's unquestionable. It is easy. It'll work. It's Florence Pugh. It's Florence Pugh, you know? It's just, it has to be. Look at the woman. She's done period piece dramas. She's done big action leading star roles. She's done everything. And in every role she's in, she is this hilarious, wonderful, adorable character who does such a variety of comedy that she would be almost as funny in this kind of role as Taika Waititi would be as Jack Sparrow, which is really saying something, I think. She's just got the whole package. Barbossa. Yeah. Barbossa is difficult because Jeffrey Rush is so good at that role. He's one of the more traditionally kind of trained Shakespearean English actors that you would never expect to play an undead pirate, yeah. And once again, I feel like my choice is kind of slightly Americanizing this, but in a modern way that would be very fun. Would give you almost another Jack Sparrow. And in a lot of ways, Barbossa is just this darker version of Jack Sparrow. You know? So I kind of love the idea of casting Robert Downey Jr. Because, and this will shock you, I'm pretty sure he is just about the age that Jeffrey Rush was in 2003 when he got cast as Barbossa. Robert Downey Jr. is getting pretty old, guys. And he is almost who I would have wanted as Jack Sparrow. He wasn't quite, and then I started thinking, wait a second, but could he play someone like Barbossa? And I definitely think he could. Because Barbossa is just... he is a very cruel kind of madcap character in a way that I can very much imagine RDJ playing. Like, he's never played anything really like that. But I could totally see it, and I would love to see it. I think it would be so funny. And he would have so much fun with that role. And it would be a proper evil Jack Sparrow. Even though Jack Sparrow is, like, 75% of the time evil. Norrington, another interesting role, because I really like Jack Davenport, and I thought he did that so well. The transition through the films was so interesting to see from him. And that character really does go all over the place. So it's difficult to know which Norrington you want to cast, because you need to cast somebody who can kind of pull off all of the different facets of that character as he goes. So I'm going to cast Matt Smith. Yep. He's done Doctor Who. He can do the unique, bubbly comedy with which I'm casting all of these roles for some reason, just because it'd be fun. He's done a lot of period piece roles as well, and I feel like he can do that, the proper, suitor to Elizabeth Swann, who gets brushed aside in favour of that Turner boy. That sort of thing. Governor Swan is easy. It came immediately to my mind. A replacement for Jonathan Pryce from 2003. Simple, easy, Colin Firth. Next. Gibbs was also simple, and I had to look up and check that Liam Cunningham, Davos from Game of Thrones, didn't play him in the original films. I was like, no, he didn't, and that's great. Did he? And I had to look it up to make sure he didn't. He didn't, but he should have, or should now. Either way, he was literally a pirate, basically, in Game of Thrones. And he was so well suited for the role, but a kind of intelligent pirate. And that's what I really love about it, because Gibbs is, he's an underrated character. He's a very fun character, and very much has an intelligence to him that should get shown off this time in the role, I feel. Yeah. Pintel and Rigetti, you're probably forgetting who that is, but you know. If I'm saying two names together in this franchise, you know who it is. I guess there are the guards in the first one as well. They're fun as well. But no, the pirate pair. The pirate pair that just keep popping up no matter what. Them. Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, yeah. Yeah. Firstly, I think I would really like to see Simon Pegg take part in the writing for this. And he writes a lot of stuff. Writes a lot of the stuff he's in. So give him the little role in this. Let him do some of the writing with Taika Waititi. I think together, those two would make a very interesting writing pair. It would be incredibly chaotic and so much fun. And Nick Frost and him together on screen is always genius no matter what. And I always want to see that, even in just a little meme duo. I just want to see them more on screen together all the time, every time, all the time, forever, please. Thinking more towards the sequels here. Davy Jones. Release that cracket. Yeah. A powerful performance for Bill Nighy, you know? It's a really unique performance. It is very hard to imagine it being replicated, but when you boil down the essence of what Davy Jones is, he's lost a wife and is this kind of grieving widower, okay? He can definitely take part in some action despite being a little bit on the older side, and he's intimidating, so maybe like a 6'4" Irishman. Liam Neeson, you say, okay, yeah. The man has reached about the age of 70, is still doing action films. They've decreased marginally in quality recently, but still doing them, can still do them, is still a great actor, and has played several roles recently where he is a widower, which is why I'm casting him as Davy Jones, who's kind of grieving the loss of his woman, as opposed to the fact that Liam Neeson lost his wife in real life. He's already using that, which is the only reason I'm okay using that. I want to make that so clear. Cutler Beckett, as much as he's the main villain, kind of the whole trilogy, sort of, he's a strange character, because he is this fancy boy, but he's so, like, manipulatively evil underneath it. And you do want to cast somebody very British, and very much in their sort of, like, 50s, probably, I would think. Yeah. And if you got to do that, I would cast Daniel Craig. Yeah. One, because he's not that tall. I always forget, he's not that tall. And Cutler Beckett very much gives off that, like, Napoleon sort of small man, puffed up importance energy. Secondly, he's kind of reached the age now where it's time to transition into these middle-aged, like, snarky, sneaky, villainous characters. And from his character in Knives Out, who wasn't villainous at all, I can very much see him playing these sort of puffed-up, self-important, villainous characters. So I'd love to see that. I think he'd be so good at it. Bootstrap Bill, it's simple. Stellan Skarsgård was amazing in that role. I want to see, because he's about the right age to play Dylan O'Brien's father, and because I don't think he minds getting his hands dirty with CGI, Ralph Fiennes. Ralph Fiennes so good. Still very much with the King's Man on the action path. Not too old for it, so I don't mind casting him in this, where he might have to do a little bit of action there. And after Voldemort and all, he doesn't mind being in franchises. He doesn't mind getting his hands dirty with a little CGI work. He's fine with all that, so let's go for it. Finally, Tia Dalma, yeah, or Calypso. Third film's real weird, isn't it? I do like the end of the third film. The third act, I feel like it comes together, but there's so much pirate lord lore before that I just don't even But Tia Dalma, I want to cast Zoe Saldana. Why? Because she was in the original film, in the original Pirates of the Caribbean, and she's still going very strong with her career, way stronger now actually, and has reached the age where she's probably about right to be playing Tia Dalma. I can't remember what. Yeah, probably about right. Maybe slightly older than even the original was, but that's fine. And that's all for this one, guys. There are just so many more fan casts to be done out there, and so many more styles of fan casts. I've got a big one I want to do pretty soon, but if you want to vote on what the next fan cast should be, you can buy a channel membership down below, and you get to vote on all sorts of things. It's very fun, it's very interesting, and you can join our Discord to get to talk about what fan cast should come along next as well.